artificial intelligence on how to reveal me a glimpse of the glitch of the simulation. Wouldn't that be a real trip? Oh, let's take it together to find out how we can manipulate the script for just long enough for it to cause a chain reaction, no type of effect on the code to cause a reboot to awaken them from the safe mode.
Shall we start now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion. Small crisis has been averted. Get back to the show now. So is everyone enjoying their financial collapse we got going on, it seems? Anyone paying attention to the ridiculous shenanigans?
The U.S.
banks are
Fed,
sound.
The banks are sound. That's what Biden says.
Absolutely.
U.S. Fed just raised their rate.
I know, because I mean, I get it. The Fed has to raise its rates. They literally don't have a choice. They have to raise rates.
But they can't.
But they can't. But they have to, but they can't. And in doing so, they're literally decimating. Yeah. Biden says the American economy is good as ever.
So
strong. Yeah.
we're going to play our weekly game. What's the distraction from what? Because, I mean, so
Go ahead.
we can start with the mainstream stuff, or we can start with something right out of fucking left field. For example, has anybody been getting kind of rumors, whispers, reports, feedback about weird COVID vaccine side effects?
Not heart attacks, not blood clots, because that's what all the focus is on. Oh, heart attacks and blood clots.
So apparently, out of the blue, one of the things that we're seeing here, and I mean, this is from friends of ours
Personal.
that see it in like their workplace, is something similar to prions disease or
ALS?
motor neuropathy, but it's an extremely aggressive, advanced version of it. There's a guy who has, let's just say, observed his vaccine schedule. And in the last few weeks, I haven't personally seen the guy, but I've been there when the guy's been around. That's as deep as I'm going to go into this situation. But the first week, he came and he reported that he has motor neuropathy or something like prions disease. The second week, he came and he could hardly fucking speak. Then the third week came and if the progression goes the way it looked like in the course of 3 weeks, dude doesn't have long. It's that fast. So it's an aggressive neuropathy that is kicking in. And it looks like it's not an isolated thing. Since that one dude who is like personally in the face to see it and understand what it's going through, there's been at least 2 other people that have reported something similar in person, like in the immediate group. So
and so I got a message from someone else saying, 2 people in their immediate circle of friends, family, who've been diagnosed with Parkinson's in the last month.
So
all these are neurological disorders. All of these are going advanced, like
aggressive.
moving really, really fast.
I was going to say, it's quite interesting how much ADHD, ADD, neurodivergent, and all the rest of it is actually coming out right now as well. Like,
Yes.
I've never seen so much information on these things coming out. I'm like, fuck, I've got everything.
Well, Danny just
That's why
posted
we get along so.
that meme you came across, that thing that I came across that I gave to you.
Yeah. And there
Something
was
to the
2
effect
different
of-
memes. Yeah. On the one side, it says psychologist Stanley Milgram found that 80% of the population do not have the psychological or moral resources to defy an authority's order, no matter how illegitimate the order is. Therefore, only 20% have critical thinking capacity. And then the other one is the one that we've talked about. I had to go find the guy's name is psychology professor Russell Hurlbur reports that only 30% of people have an internal dialogue or an inner voice. Put those two together. The one saying 20%, the other one saying 30%. I think we can sit there and say, let's find a nice little
10% overlap, though, like, you know.
But like those, to me,
strikingly close numbers
are directly connected. Like, as in not having the internal voice, but also on the other one, talking about saying not having like the moral compass, not having the ability to question.
A properly formed conscience.
And that's just it. Like, they don't have a properly formed conscience. Really, that's what you can kind of interpret that to say. And the other one saying about not having an internal voice. You know, it was all like in Pinocchio, how Jiminy Cricket was his conscience. Apparently, most people on the planet don't have a cricket.
Well, you know that they ask you when you go in for a psych eval or anything like that, do you hear voices? Well, if you say yes, because you have your own internal voice, they're going to lock your ass up. Just so you know.
That goes along with all the other things that they're doing, right? So the odd disease, the oppositional defiant disorder, if you question authority, you have odds, and it's a mental disorder. If you have any hesitation, like anything that goes beyond what they want to put in their little tiny boxes of normal,
conspiracy theories that
they will create a disease to define that, so that they can then say, oh, no, because if you, the vast majority of people apparently are followers. They want to be normal. They want to fit in with society. They don't want anyone to think that they're weird, unlike the rest of us. So if a doctor says to them, oh, you've got oppositional defiance disorder. Oh, that's just terrible, right? Then they're like, oh, okay, I won't question authority again. No, don't tell my mom. No, don't tell my teacher, my priest, my pedophile. I don't know. They don't want to be seen outside the spectrum of normal. Yes, Paul, it is good to be weird. It is always good to be weird.
80% of people have head in the ass disease.
Yeah, 80% of people have head in the ass disease. Yes. Head up the rectum. Someone else's rectum. I don't know. Seriously. Yeah, Mark.
One of the things that we learned in psychology, especially abnormal psychology when I was in school, was that if you don't have an inner voice, if you're not, necessarily talking to yourself, they don't answer you, that's okay. But if you're not talking to yourself, then realistically, you're considered antisocial. And it was really interesting.
Back then, you were considered antisocial if you didn't talk to yourself.
Yeah, this was the 80s. I graduated my bachelor's degree in 87 and could have gotten a second degree in psychology, but they wanted another like $10,000. I told them fuck themselves. But thought I'd put that.
Fuck you, $10,000.
I just paid you 40. Who are you kidding?
This is the thing. Like, they've. I wish I still had that book open. I could have read that paragraph. Got a new book coming in the mail. I should have it tomorrow or the next day. I posted about it on Facebook, and I was all like, I just read this sudden realization that books that I buy are all tax deduction for my company. My library is about to get real good. So I was like, I need more expenses on my for my monthly reports and taxation. I need more expenses to balance it. Oh, I'll go buy some books.
More research material.
Research material. It's all research material. Anyways. I found the book listed in one of my favorite secondhand book online sites. And I always go, before I'm going to buy it, I actually go search the book to find out any information about the book I can find, right? Found the book on archive. It's now in the Unfuckers library. Anyone wants to read it. And when I started scanning through it, and it's, the doctor who wrote this book in 1866 is talking about the fact of the failure of the medical society. And he literally goes on to describe the fact of how this guy in 1866 is talking about the grandiosity of the medical society that creates these names and description and terms to place themselves in a position of godhood where you don't question the science. And I'm like, 1866, the guy saying is calling them out on saying, no, you are never, they tell us we're never supposed to question the science. And I'm like, well, ain't that just a fucking peach?
Well,
It's like the same thing, like everything he described in this one paragraph was literally the last 3 years here. They are still, he's calling out the medical establishment for literally giving a pill to treat a symptom, but not figuring out what the cause of the symptom is. That's in 1866. We have gotten even worse now. Even worse. And I said to Nick, like, we look at things even in the last 40 years, right? We look at certain things that we knew in the 80s, in the 70s and the 80s. If a baby had their first infant vaccination and came up and started developing eczema, the doctor would have said,
and that's what the allopathic medicine has given us now. They've given us a whole host of things that treat symptoms that have a nasty set of side effects. And every one of those side effects, well, they got another pill for that. They got another pill for that. They got another pill for that.
Yep.
So you wind up taking, like, a fistful of pills to offset each of the side effects. In reality, the herbal solutions that we have available to us don't have those.
or very few.
Or very few.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to be fair, even taking, and there isn't anything that you take in pill form pretty much that is harmless.
No.
Even something as simple as a paracetamol or acetaminophen in North America, or ibuprofen. Ibuprofen's really bad for your intestines.
Oh God.
Horrible.
God, for your stomach, your liver.
So everything that we take like that, we've accepted, hey, it's got a side effect, but we need the cure for whatever
we
thing
need this headache to go away right now, so I'm going to take it anyway. And I do it too occasionally. I do it too.
But there are other options, right, for pain relief.
Of how many people get side effect from statins that make their life uncomfortable, but think that it's better off because it's helping with the cholesterol. It's
My
fucking,
cholesterol's
it
not
is
so high.
Crazy.
Oh, it's insane. And what is okay? Using statins is a really prime example. That's a brilliant example, actually. We have known since the 90s that statin drugs are not good for you. Since the early to mid 2000s, there have been a shit ton of studies that have come out that have proven that not only do statins not work as advertised, they also are deadly. Like, they're that dangerous, and yet they're still on the market. Here's another one. It's birth control pills. Now, we have a problem. We have a problem, and again, when we talk about a stagnant society and a stagnant medical society, birth control has not advanced since the birth control pill. Everything that we're doing that's so-called advanced, like implants and the shots and like Depo-Provera and things like that, it's all the same science. It all works off the exact same shit, the exact same theories, right? Birth control pills are deadly. The risks of cancer, uterine, breast cancer, cervical cancer, are exponential if you've ever taken birth control pills, ever. Now, I've educated my girls. I'm quite confident that my girls will never, ever take a birth control pill because they know what's in them. They understand the risks. And yet, even though we have study after study after study after study proving the direct correlation between any kind of birth control pill, doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter whether they're using real hormones or laboratory derived hormones, doesn't matter. Study after study after study showing they are directly linked to breast cancer, cervical cancer, uterine cancer. Yeah. Well, none of that conversation is going to be able to go out on the YouTube clips for sure, because, like, God, if I talk about COVID,
The body
YouTube
count,
will
I
kill
mean,
me.
it's uncountable.
This is, what you're talking about is the beginning of it. So it's like the separation of knowledge, the
Yes.
experiential knowledge,
Mhm.
not just the content, right?
Yep.
And then we go back to what Leonida was talking about, and you've got to look at it at the way things are coming our way, right? They're trying to take out critical thinking and all of that kind of stuff. And if you actually literally look at what's transpiring, TikTok, Reels, clips, they're shortening the data and the sound bites. They're making long form boring, or they're trying to, but in the programming of the way things are delivered, right? And this is the new structure of trying to put it into sound bites, as opposed to having the experiential part of the information come through as well.
Yep.
Because that's the learning aspect of it. Being able to just read shit, it allows you to be able to do your thing with it, your imagination, I am being able to figure things out, you know.
Yeah.
But when you've got it being delivered to you, and it's from that time or from that, you know, from the experience itself, it changes the aspects, and therefore it changes your experience with the information. And if you look at it, it literally is. It's part and parcel of everything.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like if we can give them shitty food, then we can change their internals. If we dose them up with these things, we can change the way that those internals are received. Now that we've done that, if we speak to them and deliver things in this way, this is what it will become.
Yep.
We know schooling was created so that people could go and fucking work in factories. It hasn't changed.
Nope.
Right? And all of it across the board are these little steps.
Yep.
You know, the Herbalist Charter, 1500s.
Yep.
That was a king warning us about doctors, surgeons, pharmacists, Pharisees, the same things almost that Jesus was warning us about in the temple.
When money's that fucking tight, as it is right now, no one's going to drop even 20 quid to decorate the front of their house for a coronation when they can't even put food on the table, right? We literally, because I was doing our expenses for the month, our utilities this month
Have quadrupled.
£400 sterling. 400 pounds. To put that in perspective,
That's 800 Canadian pesos.
that's about $800 Canadian. We just paid for gas and electricity for 1 month.
And that's how
That's
much.
how bad it is.
How much US?
About 6.
No, about 550, 550.
When I say the 2008 financial crisis, I want to hear 3 names, and I want to hear 2 specifically. Go.
Names of what?
With the banks that are responsible for that shit.
Lehman's
Uh-huh.
and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Boom goes the dynamite. Okay, so here we go. As part of the Biden administration's plan to make housing affordable for everyone, upfront fees for loans backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will be adjusted based on the borrower's credit score. They're in it up to the fur again. And they've already rolled these dice.
Because it's law. Biden signed it into law.
It's in law right now. It's active.
I have no words.
I don't know.
I have no words for this. Like, when we talk about reality falling apart around us, it's this kind of shit when you sit there and just like, you're signing a law to penalize people who are responsible
Then
and hardworking, and you're going to basically give everyone who's got shit credit and a bad credit rating and a bad credit history,
Not only
give
that,
them a free pass.
basically recaused the
Danny.
2008 financial crisis
Recall-
again with
literally,
the same actors
with the
for the
exact
same.
same actors, like Freddie.
Yes, but
Step is the right one. Not too sharp, I got anything left. Look for it at the right time, but it doesn't seem to come. Or do I get distracted by the turbulence?